This is Faith Under Fire. We take you straight to the voices on the front lines of religious battlegrounds. I'm news anchor Sarah Harnish, and with me today, Pennsylvania attorney Thomas Breth. We're talking gender identity. Pennsylvania has changed the meaning of gender, and now 2 school districts, Beaver and Butler, are suing the state to protect girls' rights on campus. Thomas, what is the new definition of gender in Pennsylvania, and how did they change it?
It seems like that would be a simple answer. I'm going to give you some examples of the complexity that is now involved in defining men and women within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You have to flip back through the regulation to see how they've defined gender identity and gender expression. I'm quoting, may be demonstrated by consistent and uniform assertion of the gender identity or any other evidence that the gender identity is part of the person's core identity. And you might wonder, say, okay, well, what do they mean by core identity? So you have to go further up in the regulation, which is defined as fundamental beliefs and values, personal characteristics, and physical or mental attributes. That's one example of how they have changed the definition of gender from simply a man or a woman or a male or a female.
These schools are in a conundrum because if a biological boy wants to play on a girls' sports team, the schools could get sued by either side, the boy that's claiming he's losing rights and also the girls on the team who are losing their freedom and their privacy. And it's impacting their ability to compete against members of the same sex to get on the roster and to get college scholarships. So how do schools stay afloat financially when the standard is there is no right and wrong? All genders are welcome, and you can get sued by both sides if you don't get the definition right.
Correct. And we've seen that. We obviously pay attention to the litigation in this area. There have been many school districts that have simultaneous litigation going on. Litigation from those that believe that the definition of sex should be whatever the individual declares themselves to be at any given point in their life, versus those that believe from the start of the existence of mankind, the history of our world, it has been male and female, man and woman. So school districts are very much so in that conundrum. It's impacting their insurance rates because they have to have a special rider on their insurance in Pennsylvania to cover this type of litigation. But also, we talk about this in the context of students an awful lot. The regulations aren't written in a manner that differentiates between students versus adult members of the staff or adult members of the community. This doesn't solely apply to students. It equally applies to any adult individual that may feel that they identify in some other sex and could very easily access the facilities that are provided to the female or male students that are significantly younger. They were talking about juveniles, young adults that could be exposed to biological men or biological women accessing those sex-designated facilities.
Pennsylvania voters are decidedly clear about what they think about boys on girls' sports teams. It is a hard no. But when it comes to the gay and lesbian movement overall, the vote is a lot tighter. The LGBTQ plus movement has gained a lot of ground, and their main argument is inclusion, that those that don't accept them are hateful. How do you win an argument on gender in a courtroom when the outside appearance is that fighting for girls isolates the transgender movement?
The complaint that we've laid out, we've made the same argument in a number of other cases successfully. The legal argument is that the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission does not have the legal authority by regulation to redefine the term sex. You've done something that you don't have the legal authority to do. It needs to be decided in the general assemblies of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the other states. From the district's perspective, all students should feel safe at school. All students should have equal rights to an education. That doesn't necessitate putting one student's rights above another student's rights. And when you're talking about redefining sex, you're saying we're going to put a group of students' rights over other students' rights to privacy, security within the most intimate and private areas, restrooms, locker rooms, the protection of competing against people of the same gender, students of the same gender. You can Google, and there are countless articles of female athletes that have been hurt significantly, some permanently hurt because they've been required to compete against biological males. Secondly, we need to be very respectful and kind to the individuals that vehemently disagree with our legal position and disagree with the impact that it might have in their minds. We're very conscious of that. This is a very serious issue. This is not a or B issue. Just pray that God helps guide us, checking our own actions and words when we're dealing with individuals, whether they're gay, that we really spend the time to say, we may disagree with you, but we most certainly understand how Jesus asks us to treat you.